The art of reinvention, breaking boundaries, and creating new paths. Have you ever felt trapped in a box someone else built for you? That moment when you realize the path you're walking wasn't designed with you in mind? I want you to imagine something with me. Imagine a world where the boundaries we accept as fixed are actually permeable, where the walls that seem to contain us are actually just suggestions. This isn't some fantasy. This is the reality I discovered through my recent conversation with Lindsay Renea, a visionary artist, educator, and entrepreneur who has fundamentally transformed how countless individuals view their career trajectories and creative possibilities. Lindsay isn't just breaking boundaries, she's redefining what boundaries even mean in today's rapidly evolving world. Lindsay Renea's words still echo in my mind. You don't have to do everything all at once, and you don't have to do anything forever. Let that sink in for a moment. You don't have to do everything all at once, and you don't have to do anything forever. In a culture obsessed with hustle culture and linear career paths, these words feel almost revolutionary. But Lindsay doesn't stop there. She also lives by another powerful mantra: if you want it, look for it. Don't like it, reinvent it. Can't find it, create it. This isn't just philosophy, it's a blueprint for creative resilience in a world that often fails to make space for diverse voices and visions. It's the foundation upon which Lindsay has built her remarkable career, one that has touched hundreds of lives directly and inspired thousands more. As the host of the Pink Parachute Diaries podcast, I've had the privilege of interviewing countless remarkable Black women breaking barriers in their fields. But my conversation with Lindsay Renea struck a particular chord that I believe holds universal wisdom for anyone who has ever felt constrained by conventional expectations. The truth is, we've been sold a dangerous myth about success: the myth of the straight line, the myth that says you pick one thing at 22 and stick with it until retirement, the myth that says deviation equals failure. But what if the most fulfilling path isn't a straight line at all? What if it's more like a dance? Lindsay Renea knows something about dance. As a professional dancer with the internationally acclaimed Garth Fagan Dance Company, she reached what many would consider the pinnacle of her field. She had made it by conventional standards. But here's where her story gets interesting. Instead of simply continuing on that prestigious path, Lindsay made a choice that many would consider risky. She returned to her hometown of Youngstown, Ohio, not exactly known as the dance mecca, to found the Lindsay Renea Dance Theater and School. Why? Because she recognized a critical gap. Young people in the Mahoning Valley, particularly those from underserved communities, had virtually no access to quality dance education. Rather than lamenting this reality from afar, Lindsay pivoted. She transformed from performer to educator and entrepreneur. Over 4 years, her school provided high quality dance training and scholarships to more than 500 youth who would otherwise have had no pathway into the discipline. 500 young people who might never have discovered their body's capacity for expression. 500 young people who learned that art wasn't something that happened elsewhere to other people. This wasn't a detour from Lindsay's artistic journey. It was an expansion of it, an expansion that created ripples of possibility throughout an entire community. And then the pandemic hit. We all remember those early days of COVID-19, the shuttered venues, the canceled performances, the isolation for artists who depend on gathering and connection. It was devastating. Many waited, hoping for a return to normal. But Lindsay Renea saw possibility where others saw only limitation. When traditional performance venues closed, she co created Art Noir Fest, a virtual platform specifically designed for artists to connect and share work. during global lockdowns. What began as a response to crisis expanded beyond anyone's expectations, ultimately connecting artists across 4 continents and 11 countries. Art Noir Fest demonstrated how crisis can spark innovation and new models for artistic collaboration that transcend physical limitations. Can't find it, create it. These weren't just words for Lindsay, they were a call to action that resonated across oceans and time zones, creating a lifeline for artists when they needed it most. Lindsay's approach reminds me of another remarkable artist I learned about through our conversation. Sakana Hoffler, a multidisciplinary Black writer breaking barriers across genres. Sakina refused to be confined to a single genre or platform. Instead of forcing herself to fit into existing literary categories, she embraced various forms of expression. Her work spans from science fiction to essays on defamiliarization, creating new pathways for Black voices across literary landscapes. The results speak for themselves. Sakina was named a 2024 NYC Forge Fellow, won the 2024 Analog Award for Emerging Black Voices, received the CP Cavafy Poetry Prize, and was a finalist for the inaugural Newark Poet Laureate. By refusing to limit herself to one path and creating opportunities when they didn't exist, Sakina embodied Lindsay's philosophy in her own unique way. She didn't wait for the literary world to make space for her diverse interests. She carved out that space herself, creating new possibilities not just for her own work, but for countless writers who will follow in her footsteps. These stories reveal something profound about creativity and resilience. They show us that the most innovative solutions often emerge when we stop waiting for permission and start creating alternatives. But let's be honest, this approach requires courage. It demands that we release our death grip on certainty and embrace the discomfort of the unknown. I can almost hear the objections forming in your mind. But I've invested so much in my current path. But what about financial security? But what will people think? These are valid concerns. And I'm not suggesting we all quit our jobs tomorrow without a plan. What I am suggesting is that we question the artificial limitations we've accepted as fixed realities. The poet Audre Lorde reminds us the master's tools will never dismantle the master's house. Sometimes we need to forge new tools altogether. This is especially true for those of us from communities that have been historically marginalized. When the existing structures weren't built with us in mind, adaptation isn't enough. Innovation becomes necessary for survival. At the Pink Parachute Diaries podcast, we've witnessed this truth repeatedly. We've seen talented Black women handed pink slips while underperforming men receive golden parachutes. We've documented the systemic obstacles that persist in corporate America and beyond. But we've also celebrated the triumphs of Black women who refuse to accept these limitations as final. Women who, like Lindsay Renea, looked at gaps and saw opportunities. Women who transformed obstacles into launching pads. This isn't just about career flexibility, it's about reclaiming our power to define success on our own terms. Think about it. Who decided that a successful career looks like a straight line? Who determined that specialization is more valuable than versatility? Who established that we should prioritize stability over possibility? These aren't natural laws, they're cultural constructs, and they can be reconstructed. Lindsay Renea's philosophy offers us three powerful insights that challenge these constructs. First, embracing flexibility in your career journey allows for greater creativity and fulfillment. You can evolve through multiple roles while maintaining your core passion. Second, creating opportunities for yourself and others is essential when traditional paths don't exist or serve your community's needs. And third, Authentic storytelling through your chosen medium can bridge gaps and create meaningful connections across different communities and experiences. These insights aren't just theoretical, they're practical strategies for navigating a rapidly changing world where adaptability has become a survival skill. Consider your own journey for a moment. What boxes have you accepted as fixed that might actually be permeable? What gaps exist in your industry or community that you're uniquely positioned to address? What would be possible if you release the pressure to do everything at once or anything forever? Maya Angelou once said, "You can't use up creativity. The more you use, the more you have." When we expand our definition of what's possible, we don't diminish our potential, we multiply it. I've seen this multiplication effect in my own work with the Pink Parachute Diaries podcast. By creating a platform specifically designed to amplify the voices of Black women making waves in their respective fields, we've witnessed how representation creates ripples of possibility that extend far beyond individual stories. Each interview becomes a permission slip for someone else to pursue their dreams, regardless of the challenges they may face. Each conversation challenges the status quo by acknowledging disparities while simultaneously celebrating triumphs. This is the power of creating what doesn't exist. It's not just about filling gaps, it's about transforming landscapes. Lindsay Renea understood this when she returned to Youngstown to create dance education opportunities. She understood it when she co founded Art Noir Fest during a global pandemic, and she understands it now as she continues to evolve and create new possibilities. Her journey reminds us that our greatest contributions often emerge at the intersection of our passions and the world's needs. When we remain flexible enough to pivot toward that intersection, magic happens. So I challenge you today, stop accepting the boundaries others have drawn for you. Start questioning the limitations you've internalized. Begin looking at the gaps around you, not as roadblocks, but as invitations to create something new. The world doesn't need more people following predetermined paths. It needs more visionaries like Lindsay Renea who are brave enough to forge new ones. It needs you, your unique perspective, your distinctive voice, your particular genius, unleashed in service of creating the world we all deserve. Remember, you don't have to do everything all at once. You don't have to do anything forever, but you do have to start. You have to take that first courageous step toward reinvention because the art of reinvention isn't just about changing yourself, it's about changing what's possible for everyone who comes after you. It's about leaving the door open wider than you found it. So, what will you reinvent tomorrow? What boundaries will you break? What new path will you create? The world is waiting.